Hi everyone, this is Boomer for Carabel Gaming, and welcome to Magic 2014 The Revenge Campaign. Today we'll be taking on Liliana, and I've decided to make things a little bit difficult for myself because I'm going to be taking her on with Sword of the Samurai. And Liliana's deck is probably the most difficult of the Planeswalker decks to play against because it's got such a lot of removal. However, we're going to do our best against it, and we have to take her on an Isamaru, Hound of Condor, a 2/2 for 1 that's legendary, 1 Path to Exile, 2 Steel Shaper's Gift, which is 1 mana sorcery, search your library for an equipment card, reveal that card and put it into your hand, then shuffle your library. So I think you can see where this deck is going. This is the card that I want to see all the time against Lily. 2 mana for a 2/2 with protection from black and Bushido 1. Bushido means that when this gets into combat, it gets +1/+1. Aruba Mothrider, 3 of them, 2 mana for a 1/1 flyer with Bushido 1. And then we get to the most busted equipment of all time, or pretty much. No, Skull Clamp I think still takes that honour. Umezawa's Jit is probably the second best equipment of all time. 2 mana, whenever equipped creature deals combat damage, put 2 charge counters on it. You can then remove a charge counter from it to get +2/+2 to the equipped creature. Target creature gets -1/-1 till end of turn, or you gain 2 life. And it's equipped to. It is insane. We have 4 Lightning Helix, deal 3 damage to target creature or player and gain 3 life. Craig Prof Jones's favourite card, or at least the one that made him the most money. Masako the Humulus, 2 and a white for a 2/1 with flash. Tap creatures I control can block as though they were untapped, just a combat trick. 4 Kitsune Blade Masters, one of the most powerful limited commons that you'll see. 2 and a white for a 2/2 first strike with Bushido 1. This thing's almost impossible to kill in combat early game. And then we get on to the swathe of equipment we have in the deck. A Sword of Fire and Ice, 3 mana. Equipped creature gets +2/+2 and has protection from red and blue. When it deals combat damage to a player, Sword of Fire and Ice deals 2 damage to target creature or player and you draw a card. Equipped 2. A Sword of War and Peace, 3 mana. Equipped creature gets +2/+2 and has protection from red and from white. Whenever equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, Sword of War and Peace deals damage to that player equal to the number of cards in his or her hand, and I gain 1 life for each card in my hand. Watch me screw that up. An Oathkeeper, Takeno's Dice Show, 3 mana. Equipped creature gets +3/+1. Whenever equipped creature dies, return it to the battlefield under my control if it's a samurai. When the equipment is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, exile the equipped creature. So if my opponent had Oblivion Ring, for example, he'd be able to take out both the... If my opponent had a Shatter, for example, he'd take out this and the equipped creature. And it's got equipped too. Tensa, Godo's Maul, 3 mana equipment. Equipped creature gets +1/+1, and if it's legendary it gets an additional +2/+2, and if it's red it has Trample. Equip, 1 mana. Ronin War Club, 3 mana. Equipped creature gets +2/+1, and it has equipped 5. However, when a creature enters the battlefield under your control, attach Ronin War Club to that creature, so often this equip cost just isn't paid. Intimidation Bolt, 3 mana, deal 3 damage to a creature. Other creatures can't attack this turn. So you do this on your opponent's turn, obviously. Nagao, Bound by Honor, 4 mana for a 3/3 with Bushido 1. Whenever it attacks, samurai creatures I control get +1/+1. So it becomes a 4/4 when attacking, and then a 5/5 when blocked, which for 4 mana is quite good. Mothrider Samurai, 3 and a red for a 3 and a white for a 2/2 flyer with Bushido 1. Balefire Liege, 2 and then 3 hybrid mana for a 2/4. All the red creatures I control get +1/+1. All the white creatures I control get +1/+1. Whenever I cast a red spell, it deals 3 damage to a player. Whenever I cast a white spell, I gain 3 life. These are what's going to carry me through it. 2 Stonehewer Giants, 5 mana for a 4/4 with Vigilance. 1 white and 1 colour. Search your library for an equipment card and put it onto the battlefield. Attach it to a creature I control, then shuffle my library. Going to be leaning on that, I think. And then we get on to some of the legends in the deck. Takeno, Samurai General, 6 mana for a 3/3 with Bushido 2. Each other samurai creature I control has +1/+1 for each point of Bushido it has. Yosei the Morning Star, 6 mana for a 5/5 with flying. When it dies, target player skips his or her next untap step and tap up to 5 target opponents that player controls. I have bad memories of this card. Godo Bandit Warlord, 6 mana for a 3/3. When it enters the battlefield, search my library for an equipment and put it onto the battlefield. If I do, shuffle my library. And whenever it attacks for the first time each turn, untap it and all samurai I control and get an additional combat phase. A lot of the time you just get his maul and stick it on him and he just becomes a 6/6 with trample. Ryusei the Falling Star, 6 mana for a 5/5 flyer. When it dies, it deals 5 damage to each creature without flying. And finally, Tatsumasa the Dragon's Fang, 6 mana, equipped creature gets +5/+5. Equip 3, 6 mana, exile the Dragon's Fang, put a 5/5 blue Dragon Spirit creature token with flying onto the battlefield, return Tatsumasa to the battlefield under its owner's control when that token dies. So we want to get this onto the board as much as we can. So what are we not playing then? Because there's some not horrifically strong cards in the deck, so what are we not playing? Glory of Warfare, some of them. As long as it's your turn creatures you control get +2/+0. As long as it's not your turn creatures you control get +0/+2. It's very expensive for a Crusade style effect. Conda is 7 mana. He's 3/3 Vigilance Indestructible Bushido 5, which is awesome, but he's 7 mana. Myojin of Cleansing Fire, 8 mana for a 4/6, which is indestructible. As long as it has its divinity counter it came into play, and you can remove his divinity counter to destroy all other creatures. Again, fine, but costs 8 mana. 8 mana is a lot. Fumiko the Lowblood, 4 mana for a 3/2. It has Bushido X, where X is the number of attacking creatures, and creatures my opponents control have to attack if able. Not great in this particular matchup, but can be pretty good. Izuka the Ruthless, 5 mana for a 3/3 with Bushido 2. Sack a Samurai. Samurai creatures you control gain double strike until end of turn. I don't have enough creatures to be doing that. Zealous Conscripts, 5 mana for a 3/3 with haste. When it enters the battlefield, gain control of target permanent until end of turn. Untap that permanent, it gains haste until end of turn. Lily's deck's more sort of fast-ish to mid-range, so there's not really anything huge for me to take. Warstorm Surge is 6 mana, so I don't really want to be playing this, even though the effect is fairly powerful. Avatar of Slaughter is 8. I really don't want to be playing that either. All creatures have double strike and attack each turn if able. So yeah, sure, it's an 8/8 with double strike for 8, but you know, it's 8 mana. 8 is a lot. This is 10, Myojin of Infinite Rage. Again, has a divinity counter and is indestructible as long as it has it. If you take the divinity counter off it, you destroy all lands, but I mean, come on, it's 10 mana. Conda's Banner can be attached only to a legendary creature. It's a little bit too limited, I would say, for what it needs to do. 4 Conda's Hatamotos, which are 2 mana for a 1/2 Bushido 1. As long as you control a legendary samurai, Conda's Hatamoto gets +1/+2 and has vigilance. I don't have enough legendary samurai in order to make this worthwhile. I think I have 2. Gift of Estates, not just great, just lets me get some planes. Indebted Samurai, 4 mana for a 2/3 with Bushido 1. Whenever a samurai you control dies, put a +1/+1 counter on it. Tunadachi is very expensive for what they do. Gives a creature +2/+0 on first strike. Double Cleave gives a creature double strike. 1/1 with Bushido 1 Devoted Retainer, just not impressive. Mana Tithe is a 4 spike but just white. Again, not a big deal. Call to Glory is a boost spell that I'm not a huge fan of. Basically what I'm looking to do in this deck is just get a busted equipment on a creature and swing with it. Show of Valor, sorry, target creature gets +2/+0 until end of turn. Brute Force is a red giant growth, not that spectacular. Battle Mad Ronin isn't right for this matchup. So, with that said, let's take on Liliana. This will be probably the toughest match I've had so far because Lily's got a pretty synergistic deck. We've already sort of seen this. So let's see if we can take her on. My other late game option is just to turn Tatsumasa into a creature and start swinging. Okay, I've drawn some of my equipment and my Hand of Honor, but I only have one land, so I'll have to draw a new hand. Oh boy. I'm going to have to draw another hand, and again. So I think I'll be joining you for game 2 very shortly, because mulliganing to 5, I don't think I can beat Liliana's deck on a mull to 5. But we'll see. I very much doubt that this is going to go very long, though. Maybe could have kept the hand with 2 mountains, but it's basically if I don't draw planes in my top 2 cards, top 3 cards, I'm just completely dead. Yeah, Butcher Ghoul, fine. There is potential. There is definitely potential. I need to get another creature in play though, because Liliana's deck has Fleshbag Marauder, and as you can see by the Undying mechanic and everything else, she can really abuse things like that, which is just irritating. Yep, in with the Butcher Ghoul. I will take the 1. I don't think she has the Fleshbag Marauder, although see, why didn't she cast that she cast it pre-combat, she wouldn't get in for 1. Okay, fair enough. I lose that, and then the Undying creature comes back. This is the synergy of Liliana's deck. It's really hard. It's especially hard to overcome when your deck just hates you, which it looks like is what's going on here. Well, I just have to make this guy and hope he doesn't die, which I think is a really big thing to ask at this point, because Lily also has Doomblade and Tendrils of Corruption. So, if he doesn't die, I think I can pretty much win. This is an interesting decision, because it's basically a case of, if this guy dies, I have lost this game. There is no way I can win. But if I make Moth Rider, then she can only attack with the Fleshbag Marauder, and then I'd have a guy to protect my giant against edicts. 5 cards in hand. I'm just going to go for it because I need him to be able to. Attack. The War Club does make him 6/5, so that's a little bit. That's a possible advantage, but she just goes land Tendrils of Corruption. I am dead. Yeah, land Doomblade. To be completely expected. Yep. Well, I'm on 9. This is not a good place to be. Let's make Moth Rider Samurai. So now neither of his creatures can attack. Her creatures can attack profitably, but I don't think that it's going to matter because he's got Tendrils of Corruption, Corrupt, all sorts of stuff. Yep, Tendrils of Corruption kills my guy. You can kind of see why I mulliganed, because you can't just have one guy on the field against Liliana, you're just going to lose. And this is where I was saying that I think that Liliana's deck is probably the best deck in the out of all the decks in the game, because it's just got such ridiculous synergy. I'll hold the Lightning Helix for the minute. Woo! A black cat, awesome. Tendrils of the thing is that really sort of gets me on this, it's like Liliana's deck, I know for a fact, has 2 Tendrils of Corruption and 2 Doomblades, and 2 Fleshbag Marauders, and yet she's seen 4 of them, and 4 of those 6 cards in the top 14 cards. It's like, that's not a bad draw, especially against someone who has 2. I'm still in it. I've still got this Path to Exile. And she's on 1 card, so if I can stay alive, if I can stay alive here, I actually have the great. Well, I guess I'll Path to Exile it then. So if I can stay alive here, then I can potentially pull back into the game, because Umezawa's Jitty is so ridiculously powerful that if I can draw it and make it, I will probably still win. I think I just died, don't I? Yep, that's game. So, couldn't come back into it, but did put up quite a decent fight for someone who mulliganed down to 5 and then got his first 3 creatures killed. Again with the 1 land. Okay, I'll keep... This is not the hand I want, though. This really is not the hand I want. Because it has no creatures in, and you saw how efficient Lily is at dealing with creatures. Also, I laid the wrong land turn 1. I should have made a plains turn 1 in case I drew a Hand of Honor. Thing is, I would probably take the Avacyn's deck against Lily usually, just because I keep drawing land. No, just because it has all the Gather the Townsfolk effects and everything like that, which means that Lily's edicts are completely useless. But yeah, this one's going to be very rough. Take 1 off the Black Cat. Yikes. Playing right into her hands here. She makes Undead War Chief. I'm going to Lightning Helix that, obviously, but you know, this really isn't. This really is not the start I wanted. Okay, I'm on 21. I've still not drawn a creature in the top 11 cards of my library. It would be nice to be able to put this on something, but apparently not. Yep, take 1. I'm not using a removal spell on that. Problem is, Lily's hand is probably like nothing but removal spells at this point. Well, it's foil, whatever she's throwing. It's Liliana's Reaver, okay. And I will kill that as well before it... Just desperately trying to come... Oh, come on, really? So it's one of those things that, you know, it's one of the few things about Magic that sometimes gets to me, is that sometimes all you want to do is actually have a game of Magic the Gathering. And it just turns out where, like, both players just, like, one player just screws out and there isn't a game of Magic the Gathering that happens. Well, that made things interesting, because that's probably the best card against Liliana's deck, because I don't think that she has any way at all to deal with that long term. She can keep corrupting it and doing various things to keep it off the board, but you know, none of those things will make a blind bit of difference usually. Okay, what I'll do is I'll make this guy. Yeah, let's just stick the Dragon Fang on it. It's more mana efficient. Can't even Tendrils of Corruption it now. That's one of the most important things. Oh, got Cruel Revival as well, huh? Okay. Well, that's going to make things a little bit... Oh, did he... Really? Did he not pick up the Undead War Chief? Picked up the Reaver? Really? The Reaver doesn't do anything. Huh. Never mind. I'll let her keep up for the facade. I think the Undead War Chief would have been a lot better than the Reaver there. I mean, this thing, yeah, sure, it produces an army of zombies, but it's got to beat through this first. Well, I guess she's not banking on me having a Lightning Helix in hand. Yeah, that's fine, doesn't do anything. Excellent, yet another land. So, before she can do something daft with that black cat, I'm just going to kill the Reaver. And I'll leave the Dragon Fang up. Admittedly, I could make it an 8/8 by doing it now and then equipping it, but I'd rather do it during combat, which means she can't cast Corrupt on it. She'd have to use a Tendrils of Corruption. Oh, she's got another Undead War Chief, I see. That's a little bit worrying. And she's going to sacrifice her black cat, I am guessing, at this point. Prior to combat. Awesome. You do that. Okay, I will take 5. Anything else you want to do? Lay the only land in your hand, and I will activate the... I'll activate the Dragon's Fang. Hey, you know what you need? A 10th land! Okay, it's 6/6, so I can't race, I just have to literally sit with it on D. But that's fine, because if Lily kills the dragon, all she can do is all that happens is I make it again. Yep, Diagraph Goal is fine. So now I could really do with something like that. So do I just attack? I think I attack with this, yeah. I have to put a clock on her. And then I move the maul to there. It's like drawing 10 land 6 spells has been okay because one of those spells was Tatsumasa and the other one was a Hand of Honor. Oh, that's a good draw. Alright, does moving this change the clock? No it doesn't. I think I just... Again, I'm just going to attack with the dragon. I could attack with this as well, but the problem with that is that if she has a removal spell for Masako, then I can't block and I take 17 and go down to 1, which could end up with me dying. So we'll just press continue on that. I can make... stop the timer and make Masako. What does this do? Oh, it's not a legendary creature, I see. But I think I win if I do this. So I activate Sword of War and Peace. Then attack with that. And she does have the Doomblade, okay. So that'll bring Tatsumasa back into play. And then I put the club on Masako. And I put the Sword of War and Peace onto the Hand of Honor. And then say bring it. Because the dragon's coming back. And in fact, I'm just going to... What I'm going to do next thing is just literally just stick the Dragon's Fang onto the Hand of Honor and just attack with it. Another black cat, that is okay. Ooh. Well, I think that's a double win, so let's equip the Dragon's Fang to the Hand of Honor. And let's make our Samurai General. And then we're going to beat him up with our 10-10 unblockable guy. So we got through. Even though my deck did the best chance it could, the cards that we did draw that weren't land were actually really, really good. So we have taken out all 5 Planeswalkers, so all that's left is the rematch against Ramaz. So hopefully next time you will join me for that. And if you like this video, please like it, subscribe and share your thoughts in the comments section. And until next time, this is Boomer for Caravel Gaming, and thanks very much for watching.